What do over 80% of Sri Lankans have in common? It's not a favorite food or a shared holiday. It's this number, 80.8%. That's the huge proportion of the population that lives in rural areas. So in this explainer, we're going to deconstruct this massive challenge of rural development in Sri Lanka. It's really a story of where big, ambitious national plans meet the tough reality on the ground. All right, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with a big picture, then zoom right into a single village, Mathmagoda, to see what life is actually like. From there, we'll look at the official national plan, figure out why it so often misses the mark, and then talk about what it really takes to bridge that final gap. Okay, first up, Sri Lanka's rural heartbeat. To really get a handle on this, you first have to understand the incredible scale of this rural-urban divide. And this slide, well, it lays that economic gap out in the open. I mean, look at this. The poverty rate in rural areas is 7.6%. That is more than 3.5 times higher than in the cities. We're not talking about a small difference here. This is a chasm. And here's where things get kind of paradoxical. Agriculture is the job for a quarter of the entire workforce. That's a massive number of people. But that entire sector only kicks in about 7 to 8% of the country's GDP. So you've got millions of people depending on a slice of the economy that just doesn't pull its proportional weight. Okay, so we've seen the big national numbers. But what does all that actually feel like? Let's zoom in on the lived experience in a village called Mathmagoda. To really understand this challenge, we have to go local. We're heading to Mathmagoda, right here in the Kegale district, because it's the personal stories of the people who live there that really paint a picture of what these statistics mean day to day. Just listen to this quote from a resident. It's not just about being unemployed. It's the sheer instability of it all, the not knowing if you'll have work tomorrow, and the heavy mental toll that takes on someone trying to provide for their family. It's a constant draining cycle. And the challenges aren't just economic, they're generational. This testimony from a young person in the village, it's just heartbreaking. It shows how cultural norms and a lack of opportunity can trap the next generation, especially girls, basically shutting down their potential before they even get a chance to realize it. And then there's healthcare. For this 58-year-old, a routine doctor's visit becomes an impossible choice between their health and their money. The distance to the hospital isn't just an inconvenience. It's a massive barrier built of cost and poor infrastructure, and it has life or death consequences. So, with problems this deep and this personal, you have to ask, what's the official strategy? Let's zoom back out and take a look at the government's plan to try and fix all this. And on paper, the plan looks pretty comprehensive. It's a whole 6-part strategy. It's designed to tackle everything: modernizing farms, building roads, teaching new skills, making sure people can get loans and access markets, the whole shebang. This is the official blueprint for a better future. But what happens when this ambitious national plan actually meets the reality we just saw in Mathmagoda? Well, this is where we find that persistent, frustrating gap between policy and real life. So here's a classic example of that disconnect. The goal is great, give farmers more access to credit. But in reality, they just hit a wall. Farmers often don't have the collateral the banks want, they can't navigate all the red tape, or they just don't have the financial know-how to even get started. It's pretty much the same story when it comes to going digital. The idea is to connect farmers to online markets, which sounds fantastic. But that plan is completely undermined by spotty internet and a massive digital divide. I mean, an online platform is totally useless if you can't get online in the first place. And we see the exact same pattern in education. The plan is to boost skills with vocational training, but in reality, there's a huge mismatch. The skills being taught often aren't what the job market is actually looking for. And on top of that, the training centers are usually too far away for people in remote villages to even get to. So why does this keep happening? Why do so many well-meaning policies just seem to fall apart when they reach the village level? Let's unpack the structural barriers that are really at play here. It really boils down to a mix of system-wide problems. You've got policies that aren't carried out the same way everywhere. You have different government agencies that aren't talking to each other. And you have that fundamental mismatch between national plans and local needs. Throw in limited resources and almost zero community input, and you've got a recipe for failure. And a lot of these failures can be traced back to this one big idea: top-down planning.
This is basically when strategies are designed by experts in the capital city, far away from the communities they're supposed to help. It's the reason so many plans just feel completely disconnected from reality.
Which brings us to our final section, bridging the final mile. This is all about finding a way to reconnect those big national policies with the people they are actually supposed to be serving. And this slide really shows why there are no simple answers. These big economic policies are like a double-edged sword. Sure, opening up trade might create jobs over here, but it could also shut down local industries over there. And while welfare programs are absolutely vital for health and education, they also come with risks. Every single major decision creates both winners and losers, and figuring out that trade-off is the real challenge. And that leaves us with this one final, really critical question. With over 80% of your people in rural areas, the challenge isn't just writing policies for them. The real question is, how can a nation design its future with them, making sure their voices, their needs, and their realities are at the absolute heart of the plan?